car we've got in the shop today is an E46. This would include all E46 325s, 328s, and 330s. The problem we have on this car is the car acts as if there's no power steering. This means the car is extremely difficult to steer. You almost can't park the thing. If it's sitting at a standstill, the car does not want to turn the steering wheel. The first thing I'm going to do, because I already suspect this car has a failed power steering pump, the first thing I would do, you check to see if you've got fluid in your reservoir. Now, the fluid in the reservoir, what I like to do to see if we have any circulation happening inside the system is I'm going to lower the fluid. If I have plenty of fluid in the car, I'm going to lower the fluid to about half a reservoir full of fluid. This allows me to see the actual fluid circulating inside the reservoir. This is the returning fluid from the pump that's not being used by the rack. So this pressurized fluid is returning back to the reservoir, and you'll see circulation happening in there. So I'm going to turn the car on for a second, and then you'll be able to see how this car acts. Inside the reservoir, I've got no leaks on this vehicle, but you can see there's no movement inside this reservoir. The fluid is absolutely dead still in there. That's telling me that it is not circulating any fluid. So I'm suspecting we've got a pump failure. So what we're going to do now is lift up the vehicle and remove the belt to see if we've got a broken shaft inside the power steering pump. Okay, here we are under the car. We removed the belly pan off the car. We've also removed the belt. We've taken tension off the belt. And here's the quickest test to just confirm that the pump is bad. What happens is the actual shaft, if you see that movement right there, the actual shaft is broken away from inside the pump. So the shaft would just come out of there. I'm not going to let it come all the way out because I don't want to get fluid all over the place. But let's go over to the bench right now and I'll show you what occurs to the pump when they break. Okay, here we've got the pump out of the vehicle, and the brand of pump that you're looking for this type of failure is the Look pump, L-U-K. And here's what happens to the pump. The shaft actually shears off at the back end of the pump. The back end of the pump shaft breaks off, and the impeller comes dislodged or dislocated from the actual shaft. So the shaft will turn freely. The belt won't allow it to come out of the pump, so it's safe because the belt keeps the tension and keeps it centered up, but the pump absolutely does nothing. It won't pump fluid anymore. Now what we're going to do is talk about how to identify the difference between the early style pumps and the late style pumps so you know the parts you need to order. To tell the differences of the power steering pumps of an E46 3 Series, you want to take a look at the pump bodies themselves. The pump body to the right over here is the LF20 version, which is common for the shaft failure, where the shaft actually breaks off inside of the pump. The pump to my left over here is the LF30. This is the replacement pump for the same system. The pumps are almost identical. The LF30 is a little more of a heavy-duty pump. Now, the differences between these two pumps as far as any fitments is, on the LF20, the original pump in the vehicle, and this will help you identify it so you know what's on your vehicle, the high-pressure fitting that the high-pressure hose goes to is right on the side of the pump. And on the LF30 pump, you get the high-pressure fitting on the top of the pump. So that requires, when you purchase a new replacement pump, you're going to have to also purchase a new high-pressure hose. The high-pressure hose is oriented a little bit differently so it can fit into this fitting right here. Now, getting a new hose is a few dollars, but it might be a good idea anyway. They have a tendency to leak, so it's good to start with the whole system with new components. Now, we've replaced one of the pumps. Obviously, if there's any contamination from the LF20 pump having metallic particles in the oil, we want to make sure all of those metallic particles are out. So, what a lot of people have a tendency to do is they'll just attach the new hoses to their fluid reservoirs, not knowing that inside the fluid reservoir is actually
the filter for the power steering system. You want to replace the reservoir also, because the reservoir actually acts as the filter for the system, and you don't want to have any metallic debris from the failed pump to get into the reservoir, which later on will get pumped into your new LF30 pump and cause a failure there. You want to make sure you start off with a clean system and clean fluid. For more information about this project, you want to go to bmpdesign.com, check out technical, and find the article on E46 power steering pump failure. There you'll get information on which components to purchase and easy search for purchasing the items online.